Hey there guys, it's your boy McMix. I wasn't gonna make a video on the Berserk situation and Kentaro Miura. I made a small post and that was it. But actually, we have some developments. We have some tweets by Kentaro Miura's assistants themselves, who comment on this situation. And especially the second tweet I'm going to show you in a bit, I think this is crazy, right? Because we genuinely thought there is no hope of continuation for the series, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So let's dive in. Let's see what happened. So within a day from the announcement of Kentaro Miura's death, we have two assistants from Studio Gaga, I believe it's called. It's the studio that Miura was working with. And these are full time assistants, right? These were full time there with Miura, helping him, learning how to draw in his style. We had this first tweet by one of the assistants who it was really cryptic, really obscure. He just tweeted, "I will do my best," or something along these lines. "I'll do my best. I'll try really hard," or something. And at first, people were like, "Wait, is this like a? Is he taking up the mantle? Is he like saying that I'll do my best, sensei, or something?" And honestly, if this tweet wasn't that obscure, if it was actually responding to someone, like if someone had said, "Hey man, please finish this one last chapter or whatever," that would totally make sense. But this is just, "I'll do my best." What is this? So people were started to think, wait a minute, is the studio and the assistants actually considering to continue the series? And at first, people didn't think much of it. People said, "No, guys, this is a mistranslation. There's no way he said that. There's no context. There's nothing, you know." But then we have this second assistant who comes out and he says, okay, and I read this to you. This is a translation. Again, both of these tweets were published at the official Berserk subreddit. So you can find them there and on Twitter, of course. "I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not in a position to decide on it, so I'll move underwater for a while. Even if there is a specific thing, it will be timed. Finally, thank you for being a fan of works such as Dr. Miura's Berserk." I guess like Sensei Miura's, and thank you for your continued support, right? And then there's this other list of tweets where he talks about how Miura's health did not seem to be that bad. He seemed to be pretty healthy mentally and physically, and he was so sudden. And then at the end, he again says that it is to be decided what's going to happen with the series. And now this is just so weird, guys. Like immediately when we heard the news that Miura was dead, our first thought was like, "There's no way they're continuing this, right? There's no way." And not only that, we have a precedent. There is a precedent. The manga called High School of the Dead, where the mangaka died, and the studio, the editor, pretty much said, "No way. There is absolutely no way we make another like sequel or continuation or any way." Having that precedent and having other cases where, oh wait, the mangaka died and then the manga ended, people just assumed there's no way we're getting anything more. There's no way they're going to continue this. But really, this does open up a lot of possibilities. What's really striking about this tweet is that it actually leaves the door open. It feels as if these assistants are either waiting from a response from the studio, or they will actually communicate that with the studio, and they will reach a verdict. They will reach a decision. This is not something very crystal clear. I did expect these assistants to come out and say, "Hey, thank you for supporting Miura. That's it. That is the end of Berserk." But they didn't say that. They said, "Well, we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to wait a bit. It's going to take some time, and we're going to see." That alone, for the Japanese manga industry, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. And knowing this industry, it's so strict, it's so straightforward. You get an answer, yes or no. This, we'll talk about that, we'll see about that, really leaves the door open for a lot of things, right? So especially the second tweet, it's crazy. Now, on this next part of the video, I want to talk about what are the possibilities. What could they be referring to? Because it might not be like, oh, we're going to finish the manga. No. Because don't forget, this is a studio that had this very sudden passing of one of the writers. So these people are still employed there. They have to finish whatever work they were working on. Perhaps the very next chapter of Berserk. Perhaps that's what they're working on. And maybe that's what this whole thing refers to. That they need to see what they're going to do with the assets they have at this time, with the finished storyboards, with the finished panels. So this whole tweet thing could be about the remaining panels and the remaining storyboards they have. But it does leave one more possibility. That Miura has left some form of, perhaps Miura has left some kind of like plan or overview of how the story would progress. Or maybe some of them had private conversations with him and he told them, that's how I envision it to end. So maybe if they have a concrete plan, they could work on it and potentially finish it. Now this is the stretch, right? But that's still a possibility. That's what they could mean. It could be a totally administrative thing that, hey guys, we still need to pack some things up and we need to finish the very next chapter or the two next chapters that we were preparing with Miura, and you'll hear from us again from our studio. Or it could mean something more. And now on the last part of this video, I want to talk about my thoughts on this. And honestly, I feel Berserk, where it has stopped, it's a perfect stopping point in a sense. Because it has provided closure to the story of Casca. It has technically provided closure to the question of who the Skull Knight was. All of our characters are safe and sound in a utopia of sorts, right? So there's no reason, sentimentally, deep inside me, that's okay. I can comfortably imagine these characters stay in the Elf Island forever, and that'll be it, right? But if they decide to move forward, I want to know if they have a concrete plan. Because hear me out. Even if they continue it and the next chapters are bad, they botch it, they're horrible, the writing is obviously inferior. If it has been communicated that yes, this is the direction that Miura wanted us to take the story, I will accept it. I will accept no matter how bad the story gets. I will wait to see how Miura initially wanted to conclude this. But if they don't have a concrete plan on the next arcs or the next chapters, then no. Finish up whatever storyboards Miura had prepared and just end it here. I will support them if they tell us that, hey, we want to continue this legacy knowing his plans and knowing his vision. I'll be honest with you, this is very rare. If this happens with Berserk, it'll be 1 in a million, really. Because that's just how the manga industry works. You don't see these kind of things every day. You don't see mangaka, passing away and then, the editor giving away their stories. But this is a very special case because Miura had so many assistants who worked full time with him. So they were there constantly. They probably had conversations about where the story was going. I want to thank you guys. This video was like really quick. And I want you to tell me, is it me or do these tweets hint at a possibility of continuation? If you want me to cover this story more or potentially revisit it, then hit like and subscribe, guys. Until next time, strugglers.